Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
I don't want to give anyone ideas on how to do anything illegal. It was stupid.
A woman who got on a flight from San Jose to Los Angeles without a ticket speaks out while officials try to figure out where security failed.
Got shot at eastbound 91 at Harbor Boulevard. Just got shot at.
Injured and bleeding, a freeway shooting victim calls 911 while chasing his assailant in Orange County.
And this man is being hailed a hero after diving into a motel pool to save a mother and her 2 children from drowning. He speaks exclusively to Eyewitness News to get out an important message. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. A woman who boarded a flight from San Jose to LAX without a ticket says she's not doing that again. Today she appeared in court. The incident is prompting some security changes. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter joins us now live from the Satellite Center with more from the woman and airport security officials. Leanne?
Colleen, the 62-year-old is now on probation after pleading no contest to a charge of trespassing at LAX. She didn't want to talk about how she bypassed airport security, but says she won't be trying it again.
It was stupid, and it is something I don't want to repeat.
But repeat she has. This wasn't the first time Marilyn Hartman attempted to board a plane without a ticket, but it was the first time. The 62-year-old succeeded, and it landed her in court, facing a misdemeanor charge of trespassing at LAX.
I certainly don't want to do it again because I certainly don't want to do any jail time.
As additional terms and conditions of your probation, you are to stay away from LAX unless you have a valid ticket to fly.
Hartman is already banned from San Francisco's airport after trying 6 times to board planes without a ticket. Monday, authorities say she managed to sneak onto a Southwest Airlines plane in San Jose, skirting 2 checkpoints: the TSA ID checker at the front of the screening line and the Southwest ticket taker at the jetway. She was finally discovered in Los Angeles when flight attendants noticed the passenger count didn't match the manifest.
I wouldn't want to make anyone insecure by giving any reason or any clues as to how to do it, but it was clearly wrong on my part.
Officials in San Jose say Hartman was screened by the TSA and public safety was not compromised, but say they are now investigating the incident. Hartman, who prosecutors describe as severely mentally ill, reportedly told officials she snuck onto the plane because she was lonely and wanted to go to Hawaii. The 62-year-old says she's homeless and doesn't know where she will go next, but knows if she wants to fly, she will do it legally.
And I want to go with a paid ticket, and that's exactly how I want to do everything legal. Is what I want to do.
And the TSA says it is now making changes at the document checking station in San Jose to try to ensure this never happens again. Live in the Satellite Center, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Wow. All right, Leanne, thank you for that report. The victim of a freeway shooting giving chase to his assailant. And tonight we're hearing his dramatic 911 call for the first time.
911 emergency. What are you reporting?
Just got shot at eastbound 91 at Harbor Boulevard. Just got shot at.
Are you hit?
Yes, I'm hit. They took out my window, and I think my arm is shot.
What color and type of car?
It is a Ford. I'm trying to catch up to him now.
Okay, well, that's probably not the best idea if he's shooting at you.
Okay, I'm right behind him now.
Way to go. Ken Baker was driving down the 911 on his way home from work. He was shot in Fullerton, and he then followed the shooting suspect for miles, talking to the 911 operator the entire time. CHP officers caught up to Baker and then the suspect in Anaheim Hills. The shooting suspect, Jerry Valentine, was arrested at the scene. Today, Valentine is charged with attempted murder and numerous other felonies. Baker is expected to make a full recovery.
3 lives saved thanks to the efforts of one man. He jumped into a pool after he heard cries for help, and tonight he's speaking exclusively to Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth about his heroic efforts.
Jamie Weddle is being called a hero by many people. This after diving into this Hollywood motel swimming pool Monday afternoon and rescuing a mother and her 2 children.
So I immediately dive in, and I see her down there, so I pull her up.
Weddle says he heard cries and screams from 2 children as he walked past the motel. He raced over and saw the victims submerged in the water and pulled them out one by one.
I've been receiving word from others who were congratulating me and this whole hero thing, and I just like to think that anyone would do that sort of a thing.
Weddle pulled them out of the pool with the help of 2 others who immediately started CPR on the mother. Paramedics arrived and revived all 3 victims, who were then transported to hospitals in critical condition.
I'm really hoping for the best outcome. Another thing for me as well that I'm really affected by in the situation are those 2 kids. Those 2 kids watched everything unfold. They were there before we were there with that sense of helplessness.
Weddle says the victim's siblings told him that their 11-year-old brother and 12-year-old sister did not know how to swim. They were in the shallow end and drifted into the deep end. Their mother didn't know how to swim either. When she tried to save her children, all 3 sank under the water. Weddle initially did not want to speak to the media, but he decided to speak exclusively to Eyewitness News because he wanted to get the message out that people need to learn how to swim and learn CPR.
The importance of having CPR, because you never know when a situation will come about. The importance of all family members really need to know how to swim, whether it be going to a local recreational center to get those lessons, anything, just to avoid these sort of situations.
Police tell us the 36-year-old mother and her 12-year-old daughter remain on life support, and the woman's 11-year-old son is breathing on his own. Leo Stallworth, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
A former East LA assistant bank manager convicted of using a fake bomb to rob the branch where she worked will do time. 33-year-old Aurora Barrera was sentenced to 9 years in prison and was ordered to pay more than $500,000 restitution. She claimed she was kidnapped and forced to wear a fake explosive device during the Bank of America heist in 2012. She convinced a co-worker to help her empty the vault, taking more than $550,000. Prosecutors say Barrera never accepted responsibility, and most of the money has not been recovered.
I think this 9-year sentence does send a message that if you work at a bank, you're there to protect the bank and its customers, and it's not appropriate, obviously, to go and steal money from your own institution.
The alleged mastermind and Barrera's ex-boyfriend, Reyes Vega, was convicted of bank robbery and conspiracy back in March. Along with Barrera, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison last month. And 2 men accused of stealing part of the Porsche actor Paul Walker died in have entered no contest pleas. 26-year-old Anthony Jano and 18-year-old Jameson Whitty were charged with grand theft, destroying evidence, and obstructing a peace officer. The Fast and Furious star and driver Roger Rodas were killed last November when the sports car went out of control and crashed, bursting into flames. Jano and Whitty are accused of taking a roof panel off the car and then when a towing truck hauling the Carrera GT was at a stoplight. They are expected to get about 6 months in jail.
It is a madhouse at grocery stores in Hawaii as potentially dangerous tropical weather bears down on the island state. People are stocking up in anticipation of 2 hurricanes edging closer to Hawaii. A Costco store in Honolulu ran out of bottled water and toilet paper yesterday, but restocked the shelves today. A Southern California woman visiting Hilo says she's leaving just in time to miss Hurricane Iselle.
We saw a little bit of paranoia with people buying things a lot of the shops and stuff, but we weren't too concerned.
Gas stations are also busy with lines of cars around the block. Weather officials are asking the whole state to be prepared for flash flooding from Iselle, followed by Hurricane Julio.
And meteorologist Jonathan Novak, he's been tracking these huge storms. He joins us with what the islands can expect. Jonathan?
David Colleen, folks, we are tracking these 2 powerful tropical systems as they barrel through the Pacific toward Hawaii. Hurricane Iselle, winds of 90 miles an hour, moving to the west-northwest at 18, and Hurricane Julio, winds of 85 as of the latest advisory, moving to the west-northwest at 16. What does this mean for Hawaii? Well, first of all, you notice Iselle has lost that definition in the eye. That's good news in terms of its strength. It's starting to get a little ragged in its appearance and weaken. Nevertheless, over the next couple of days, in fact, as it approaches Hawaii, it could bring rain totals of 5 to 8 inches, and the big problem on top of the winds will be that swell, all right, as that water gets pushed into Hawaii over Thursday night into Friday morning. That would be the timing for Iselle, and then we head into the weekend, and Julio is to follow. We're going to talk more about the tropical weather out there a little bit later, and we got to look at our own forecast because temperatures are changing in the 7-day forecast, and I'll tell you how coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is striking back over the crisis in Ukraine. Russia now imposing sanctions on countries that have imposed sanctions on Russia. Putin has ordered trade cuts that would include a ban on all imports of agricultural products from the U.S. The U.S. is blasting Putin's import ban. And today, President Obama said the sanctions against Russia are necessary.
We don't know yet whether sanctions are working. Sanctions are working as intended in putting enormous pressure and strain on the Russian economy. The economy has ground to a halt. Somewhere between $100 and $200 billion of capital flights have taken place.
Meantime, troops are building up on both sides of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Western leaders have warned of a Russian military buildup on Ukraine's border as the Ukrainian army sets its sights on the largest rebel-held city in eastern Ukraine.
In the Middle East, so far, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas appears to be holding, and according to Israel, will be extended another 48 hours. It is now in its second day and follows a month of war that claimed the lives of nearly 1,900 Palestinians and 67 Israelis. Today, Israeli troops continue to pull back from the Gaza border, and some Palestinians began making their way back to their homes in the Gaza Strip. The ceasefire is only temporary. However, Egyptian negotiators are trying to work out a long-term truce and will be meeting with delegations from both sides in the coming days.
New York's Mount Sinai Hospital has confirmed that a patient who recently traveled to West Africa and became ill has tested negative for Ebola virus disease. The patient was being treated for fever and gastrointestinal problems and was kept in isolation as a precaution. Meanwhile, American and worker Nancy Wright-Bowl underwent her first full day of intensive treatment at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. ABC News got an exclusive look inside the plane that separately brought her and Dr. Kent Brantley from Liberia, and you can see a healthcare worker in a protective suit working in a pod. So far, Ebola has claimed at least 932 deaths, lives in 4 countries, and today that includes a nurse who became infected after treating a Liberian-American doctor in Nigeria.
Hackers steal more than 1 billion usernames and passwords.
Up next, here at 8 o'clock, what you can do to make sure your personal data is secure online before it's too late.
Plus, a wild scene in Australia, dozens of people working together to literally lift a train off a passenger.
And the power of a great white shark as we've never seen before. Amazing underwater camera footage shows the mighty predator's incredible bite. A group of Russian hackers is behind a massive security breach in which more than 1 billion usernames and passwords were stolen. It's not clear if the massive breach of security has cost anyone yet, but clearly people are at risk. And Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson has details of the hacking and what you can do to protect yourself.
1.2 billion passwords and usernames stolen by Russian criminals. More than 420,000 websites affected. It may be the largest data breach ever. This breach discovered by Alex Holden at Hold Security after a 7-month investigation.
We were able to research this particular gang and find this staggering discovery. Russia is one of those hotbeds of cybercrime because people there are intelligent, but they feel that their crimes will go unpunished.
Holden isn't naming the specific sites yet, but says it appears that the hackers did not target major email providers or bank accounts. Their focus? On spam messages.
Thankfully, this particular cyber gang is mostly interested in making money off the spam. However, if it gets into another hands on this black market, these people can use these credentials to get into any account that had been compromised.
So, what can you do to avoid being hacked? Change your passwords often and don't use the same passwords for multiple logins. In other words, your email, banking, and social media logins should all be different.
Security experts say if you start seeing spam coming from your social media networks or from your email, it's a sign that you may be hacked. They urge everybody to change their passwords now, just as a precaution. Reporting from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A terrifying scene at an Australia train station, but commuters come together to save the day. As a passenger tries to board, his leg slips and gets wedged between the platform and the train. Another commuter alerts railway staff to hold the train. Then the other passengers spring into action. Dozens of people push the train to the side, enabling the man to free his legs safely.
There's 50, 60 people, all pitch in, men, women, children, push the train back to help someone who's in a bit of trouble and could really have been at risk of serious injury. So it is really nice. It's unusual, but it's great when it happens.
The stuck passenger was okay. After he was checked out, he hopped on the next train.
Love that story. I wonder if that would happen in America, though.
It would.
Well, I think a lot of people here would want to help, but would authorities allow them to help? They might say, everybody get away. We'll take care of this some way, somehow.
They would see me and they'd say, I don't think you please stand aside, sir. You cannot lift this.
You take the pictures.
I would take the pictures, yes. I'd give the forecast for the fame.
Well, we have drought problems. Clearly.
We have drought problems, not just for us. You know, there's actually an interesting story going on in Nevada. It's leading to a unique sight in some canals. Wildlife personnel, get this, volunteers, they're using backpack electrofishers to stun and catch fish with nets in order to move them. The canals are normally used to generate electricity, but there's just not enough water due to the drought, so the canals are being drained, and that would have led to the death of thousands of fish unless they were relocated. That is called creativity, and that's good. That's a good thing to do. Take care of the fish, all right? Well, the drought's affecting everybody. You know, we got rain in the forecast maybe, but the chances are so slim. We're going to just focus on those temperatures. It's going to be a really nice one ahead. For tonight, we look off to the east, and it is dry for us, but it is still raining up in portions of Nevada and over towards Salt Lake City, where they had some flooding issues over the last couple of days from the system that, if you remember, over the weekend brought us the rain. Temperatures today were below average, way below average. 77 was our high in downtown. 84 is our normal. 7-degree difference there. That's pretty significant, you know, heading into the summertime here. 68 degrees is our temperature right now in downtown. That means a very nice, mild, even a cool night. Same in Long Beach, cool. We'll have some marine layer clouds. Those will come back tomorrow at the beach. Van Nuys, you're at 74 degrees, and temperatures again are somewhat cool this evening, but it is beautiful. The weather is nice. Victorville's at 81, 93 in Palm Springs is also cool. Yesterday, you were around 97 or so this time. 68 is the temperature in LA, 67 in Santa Monica. You get the idea that we are not feeling that summertime heat right now, and this is why. Let me tell you, the cool weather is coming from this area low pressure. Yes, this is the system over the weekend that brought us the storm. Still hanging out up to the north, and we're getting that onshore flow. It brings us that flow from the ocean. What does that do? It keeps the temperatures down. It keeps the marine layer in place. And that's going to be the case as we go into the extended forecast. Looking ahead, temperatures will be at or below average for quite a while now in that 7-day you'll see in a moment. Tonight, clear, cool, 63 at the beaches, maybe a couple of clouds, but overall it will be fantastic. Waking up tomorrow, the weather in the high desert, 66, and the 7-day forecast looks like this. 70 for LA and Metro, LA Metro, there we go, in Orange County. Powered up by AccuWeather, 2 days of temperatures around 81, and then lower 80s throughout the forecast. Some morning clouds, afternoon sunshine. You cannot complain. It is beautiful. Valleys, IE, in the upper 80s. Start warming up toward Tuesday and Wednesday. Just some morning clouds again, but very patchy and scattered. Really good for the valleys and IE. Now, the change here in the mountains, we've been talking about a chance of rain. It was in there yesterday. We're going to taper it off. I brought it down to 10% for next Tuesday. Temperatures in the mountains in the mid-70s, very pleasant. The high desert temperatures will stay in the mid-90s all the way throughout, and the breezes kicking up the next 7 days. More weather in a few minutes. Back to the desk.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, this may seem like the summer of the shark. We've been reporting on the big rise in great whites along America's beaches, and tonight we have new jaw-dropping video of a shark up close and in action showing us how they attack and why. ABC's Paula Ferris has the amazing images.
The great white shark approaches and then, out of nowhere, attacks. It happens again. Watch the great white in pursuit and listen as its teeth grind down on its prey. In this case, an underwater camera. These are rare visuals captured by the Woods Hole Remus Shark Cam.
Oh my God!
For Shark Week, Jaws Strikes Back, airing next week on the Discovery Channel.
This is some pretty intense damage right here.
Scientists learning just how powerful these great whites are.
These attacks can occur down at great depths and not just at the surface, which is what we previously thought.
The great white can hit its prey at speeds of 25 miles per hour and bite with up to 2 tons of pressure per square inch. Experts say the population is the largest it's been in 20 years, partly because of conservation efforts. And while at this time of year they're primarily spotted in the Northeast, in California,
in the water! Shark!
Steve Robles survived an attack just last month. It was all caught on camera.
It made a real fast, sharp left turn and a lunge right up my chest.
Again, that was ABC's Paula Ferris reporting.
Attention Apple fans, we now have a launch date for the iPhone 6, but what will be different about the new model?
Plus, a bear on a stroll. Look at that. Like you've never seen before. Apple fans, mark your calendars for September 9th. Online reports claim that's when Apple will unveil its next generation of iPhones. The new phones are expected to arrive in two sizes, both with bigger screens, stronger batteries, and faster processors. Apple is also expected to unveil new iPads with Touch ID fingerprint sensors and a fitness tracking smart band being called by some the iWatch.
We see our share of bears here in Southern California, but never like this. Check it out. Is it funny, creepy? It could be sad, actually. It's a big bear on a stroll walking through a New Jersey neighborhood on his hind legs. The bear peeked in a trash can or two, then walked into the backyard of the home and drove one dog crazy. As you might guess, this video has gone viral online, with some viewers wondering if the bear has suffered some kind of injury to its front paws.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
It looks like it did. Like it saw its little paw go up.
Needs a little help.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Well, still to come, a new effort to stop human trafficking in Orange County.
Up next, a victim speaks out to Eyewitness News her incredible story.
Plus, startling allegations against an Ontario company from dozens of women who work there. How they say they were videotaped while using the office bathroom.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
Got shot at eastbound 91 at Harbor Boulevard. Just got shot at.
Stories making headlines at 8:30. A freeway shooting victim in pursuit of his assailant calls 911. I'm David Ono. This is ABC7 Eyewitness News on LA56.
I'm Colleen Sullivan. We're hearing the 911 call for the first time. The alleged shooter from Arizona is now facing attempted murder charges.
A woman is placed on probation after breaching airport security in San Jose and then boarding a flight to LAX without a ticket. 62-year-old Marilyn Hartman says she won't do it again.
A double threat bearing down on Hawaii. One hurricane is edging closer, the other one right behind it. When will the first storm make landfall?
And a top story at 8:30, alarming new numbers on human trafficking. It has doubled in Orange County between 2011 and 2013. Leaders in the OC want to stop the troubling trend by raising awareness with ads on local buses. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere talked to a victim and has more on the impact this effort could have.
I was 11 when I entered the trafficking world.
The 19-year-old only wants to use the name Ori. Despite repeated beatings, she got away a few years ago, but remembers it wasn't easy.
I rode the bus in the back of the bus, and there was a pimp. I sat back there with my pimp, and everyone on the bus paid no attention to me. I was just another girl, probably in skimpy clothing, that she's a runaway, she's a lost child.
A new campaign, Be the One, is meant to help victims like Ori. The message plastered on OCTA buses.
We transport through these buses 1 million people a week here in Orange County. That is 2 million more eyes.
OCTA bus drivers are being trained to watch for possible victims of human trafficking.
If you're coming up to a stop, you see a young lady there, and then come back again, you see the young lady still there.
Bus drivers can alert authorities. Several cameras on board are also watching.
Contrary to the image that most people have when they think of human trafficking, the victims rescued in Orange County are U.S. citizens.
A new report on human trafficking finds the perpetrators' average age 20 to 29. The report found that on average, 8 victims of human trafficking are identified each month in Orange County, and nearly half are children or teenagers. More agencies are joining together to focus on fighting the modern-day slavery.
The task force has conducted over 750 human trafficking investigations, identified 90 victims of human trafficking, and have made over 350 arrests.
Just last week, police arrested 3 people suspected in the torture and human trafficking of a 26-year-old woman.
It's around you, and you can do something about it.
In Orange, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A nonprofit group, along with 3 foster parents, are suing the LA County Department of Children and Family Services. The suit was announced in Pasadena today. It alleges DCFS employees in the county don't follow rules for notifying foster parents when children are taken from them or have court hearings that impact a foster child's future.
We filed this action this morning on behalf of the 20,000 present children who fall within the purview of DCFS and all future children, so that those people who have the most knowledge, who have the most support for the children, can be heard in determinations about their future, in determinations about their best interest.
LA County officials had no comment on the lawsuit.
Dozens of women have joined in a lawsuit against the company they work for, alleging they were videotaped while using the bathroom at work. The women's employer, Mentor Media in Ontario, the 40 women claim a USB camera recorder with motion sensors was hidden underneath a sink in one of the company's co-ed bathrooms, similar to the one you see here, and they say it was disguised and positioned at an angle to record them when they undressed and made use of the bathroom. The women say the video was downloaded to a number of computers and that managers were aware of it.
You just start looking around and seeing people, and they're like, who would do this? Who would put a camera in the bathroom to peek at us? We were all mad. I was really mad.
Management were involved in this, in the sense that they made reference to who looked the best, what kind of underclothing they were wearing.
A suspect is under arrest, Freddie Giovanni Lane Feisty. He faces 10 counts of disorderly conduct. No one from Mentor Media's office in Ontario was available for comment.
Not guilty pleas today from a Palmdale woman and her boyfriend, both facing capital murder charges stemming from the beating death of the woman's 8-year-old son. Pearl Fernandez and Azaro Aguirre are accused in the 2013 death of Gabriel Fernandez. The couple is accused of inflicting multiple injuries on the boy, who suffered burns, a fractured skull, and broken ribs. Prosecutors will decide later whether to seek the death penalty against the two. The death triggered investigations into the county child welfare system.
A tourist from the Philippines has gone home empty-handed after his collection of stuffed and mounted animals was seized by customs. Inspectors say the collection includes a wildebeest, a zebra, a gazelle, and a baboon worth about $9,000. Agents discovered them July 23rd while checking for contraband. The man says he picked them up from a Texas liquidator and didn't know the shipment required permits. 4 of the animals also require an additional permit as endangered species. All are being donated to museums or schools.
Activists on both sides of Proposition 45, which would require health insurance companies get permission before raising rates, are speaking out. Consumer Watchdog, which supports the measure, says Prop 45 will help keep the insurance companies from passing on lobbying costs, civil fines, and campaign contributions to consumers.
When Prop 45 passes, the average California household will see a savings of $612 a year on their health insurance bill.
I think it creates a really complex system. Doctors weren't consulted, providers weren't consulted, community clinics weren't consulted, and as a result, this is a really flawed initiative.
Opponents of Prop 45 say the initiative is flawed and could increase costs to consumers and compromise the quality of health care. Prop 45 will be on the ballot November 4th.
Complaints over the new Orange County toll road system that does away with cash payments. Many people are finding it confusing, and some are being hit with violations as a result. It can be especially puzzling for out-of-town visitors, as we find out from Eyewitness News reporter Rudabe Shabazi.
When Eyewitness News anchor Jory Rand's in-laws came for a visit to Southern California, rented a car, and drove down to San Diego, they didn't bargain for the electronic toll road.
We went under like a fast track thing. A little while after we went through there, I see a thing that says tollroads.com. And, you know, I didn't even really know what route I was on.
Don Sukup eventually paid the toll online, but says he was still confused by the whole experience.
And it wants to know exactly the time you were there, the road you're on, the city you're at. And, you know, I didn't really understand it. I didn't really know where I was.
The toll road spokeswoman, Lisa Tejas, acknowledges there's been a lot of confusion, but says most people are catching on. The company's put more than 100 signs up and is trying to spread the word. It's also given drivers 7 days to pay the toll and forgiving the violation fine for the first time.
96% of our traffic, the people who are driving the roads, are paying electronically every day. So a lot of people have figured it out.
Tejas says the toll roads will eventually track down rental car drivers who haven't paid.
You will get a notice, and I would encourage people to read the notice carefully before panicking and look, and if it is a first-time violation, there is information included in that notice explaining how you can go online and we'll waive the fees if it's a first-time violation.
Hertz, Enterprise, Alamo, and National offer transponders for less than $4 a day. According to its website, Budget has transponders for about the same price. But Sukup says no one mentioned it to him at the rental office.
It's not clear what you're supposed to do.
We reached out to Budget but haven't heard back for comment. And if you're in doubt, Tejas says the best thing to do is go online, where instructions should be clearer, and make sure to tell visitors to expect toll roads in LA, Orange, and San Diego counties. Rudabe Shabazi, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
It was the rave to end all raves, or a reckless disaster depending on who you ask. The young man who threw the rave calls it a success. The invite posted on Facebook drew more than 2,000 partygoers to a small home in a small town in Michigan, not to mention 2 DJs, a fire thrower, and strippers. Neighbors saw it otherwise, and police say there were overdoses and a sexual assault. Still, the young host says he has no regrets.
I didn't make this kid pass out on my floor. People wanted to be here.
What do you say to anyone who says you're responsible?
I am. It's my house. You got to deal with it afterwards, but apparently it was worth it. If you're a parent that's got a 14-year-old child that's been able to be at my house all night, and according to the police, there was a lot of them here. So I think some parents should do some reflections on their parenting before they start getting mad at me. I feel like anybody that's got a real problem with me partying out here in the middle of nowhere is a spaz.
He says he expects he may be facing some charges as a result of the party. He also says he is moving to California next week, so watch out.
All right. Up next, this state health official sounding the alarm concerning West Nile virus, what you need to know.
Plus, doctors have a new way to treat an all-too-common heart condition. Details on the freezing technique for patients with atrial fibrillation.
Wow, it was really nice today. Temperatures were well below average. Will it stay that way? I'll tell you how long this cooler weather lasts coming up in that 7-day forecast. Stick around.
State health officials are urging residents to protect themselves against mosquito bites after 2 people in Northern California died from West Nile virus. The first death happened in Sacramento County, the second in Shasta County. They are the first deaths blamed on West Nile virus this summer. The virus is transmitted to humans and animals by the bite of an infected mosquito.
Atrial fibrillation, or AFib as it's also known, affects about 2.5 million Americans. It's a condition that can cause heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and dizziness, and if left untreated, it can be dangerous. But as health specialist Denise Tador reports, doctors now have a new way to treat the condition by freezing it out.
Terry Smith loves walking and woodworking, but the retired police officer had to slow down when he found out he had an irregular heartbeat.
I think my heart rate was over 220 at one time.
Terry had atrial fibrillation. Faulty electrical signals caused his heart to beat out of whack. If untreated, AFib can lead to heart failure or stroke.
If I can help it, I don't want to have a stroke.
When meds fail, radiofrequency ablation is used to heat the heart and destroy tissue that causes the irregularity. But it isn't always effective.
One of the most frustrating things is that we were doing these procedures and oftentimes they weren't successful.
Now, instead of heating the heart, Dr. Jeffrey Banker is freezing hearts with cryoablation.
It actually does cure it. It gets rid of the signals and gets rid of the arrhythmia altogether in many patients.
Doctors thread a catheter through the groin and inject liquid coolant through a small balloon, freezing the heart tissue. This restores the heart's rhythm for about 90% of patients. Terry had the procedure and is back to enjoying another one of his pastimes, collecting toy trains.
I haven't been in AFib since I had the procedure, this last one. I've been fine.
Meaning he can focus less on his health and more on his hobbies.
Most cryoablation patients go home the same day and are back to their normal activities the next day. And studies show that cryoablation is less likely to damage the heart tissue than radiofrequency ablation. In the newsroom, Denise Tador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
2 big hurricanes taking aim at Hawaii. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak has the latest coming up.
And here at home, an electronic highway program designed to clean up the air at the ports. Find out how it works.
Bird watching is going high-tech in coastal Maine, introducing Puffin Cam. The camera already has 4 million views since 2012. Volunteers are being asked to watch these colorful seabirds and help answer questions about their daily behavior. The Audubon Society says the puffin population has declined the past 2 years, mostly due to its food source leaving the area for colder waters. Right now, there are only 1,000 pairs of puffins left in the state.
I would watch that. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah,
they are darling.
That would be great.
Well, not so cute talking
so
about
cute,
these hurricanes.
We've got not one, but 2 tropical systems heading toward Hawaii. And while they are heading, both of them, in toward cooler water by the time they reach Hawaii, that doesn't mean that they can't get a lot of rain, and the storm surge will cause a huge problem as well. So let's check it out and see the latest on Hurricane Iselle and Julio. We're tracking these, moving to the west-northwest at 18, bringing winds of 90, Hurricane Iselle. Hurricane Julio is bringing winds of 85. Now, good news, if you look here, you see the eye of Iselle has gone away, so to speak. It's starting to get a little more ragged, encountering a little bit of wind shear. It'll actually hit more of that as it gets closer to the Big Island, but still, nevertheless, will bring hurricane-force winds as we go into Thursday night into Friday morning. Even if those winds get knocked down for the rest of Hawaii into tropical storm force, we will again have 5 to 8 inches of rain, up to 12 inches of rain in localized spots. And again, the storm surge is a huge problem. And then just a few days later, they have to look forward to Julio, unfortunately. And we will keep you posted right here on everything that's happening out there in the Pacific. Locally, what a day. Temperatures below average. It is, our highs were around 80 in Burbank, well below the average. Long Beach, 79. Ontario, 88. Riverside, 88. And Lancaster was at 90. So temperatures generally were cool today, and they're going to stay cool as we go into the next few days. We'll see those numbers basically stay where they were today. We're in the 60s as you're heading through the beach to the valley. 74 right now in Van Nuys. The picture here is that it is a relatively cool evening. 77 in Victorville is nice. 93 in Palm Springs. While it's warm, it is below average. 74 in Van Nuys. Again, another number that we're looking at temperatures below the norms for this time of year. Why? Well, we have low pressure to the north, and we've been tracking this low just kind of hanging out to the north of us, bringing rain to Nevada and portions of Northern California. But around it, winds around low pressure go counterclockwise. So we see, as a result, that onshore flow that brings the marine layer back. It keeps temperatures down. We were thinking high pressure was going to build in later in the forecast and kick the numbers up in terms of the temperatures. It just doesn't seem to be the case. So overall, a very persistent pattern over the next 7 days. Temperatures overnight on the cool side, 64 Los Angeles and Inglewood, 57 in Simi Valley. How about that? And temperatures tomorrow will be on the cool side again. I would even say mild. We'll say 89 in Santa Clarita, 81 in Los Angeles, lower 90s in the IE, and Huntington Beach enjoyed the 73 for tomorrow afternoon. 70 forecast is showing a very persistent pattern, as I say. Lower 80s throughout with just a little bit of beach cloud cover in the morning and afternoon sunshine. No rain to talk about. And it's going to stay dry in the valleys. Temperatures in the upper 80s to around 90. We'll get back into the 90s. Those temperatures rising up next Tuesday and Wednesday. The mountains, your temperatures will stay in the mid-70s throughout the 7-day forecast with a slight risk of a shower next Tuesday. Right now it looks overall dry, just breezy in the high desert with temperatures in the mid-90s. Dallas has the latest on the forecast coming up on ABC7 at 11.
Thanks, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Tiger Woods made it official today. Bad back and all, he is going to tee up tomorrow morning in round 1 of the PGA Championship in Louisville, Kentucky. There was certainly a buzz in the air when Tiger teed off today, and I'm not talking about the high-voltage power lines behind him. He played the front 9 like he was in competition, accompanied by a huge gallery. Then he practiced around in the back 9. He showed no signs of the back pain that caused him to pull out of the final round of the Bridgestone Classic on Sunday. Woods had back surgery earlier this year. He says playing this week shouldn't increase the risk of re-injuring that back.
It's not the site of the surgery. This is something totally different. And as I said, when I landed, it just jarred it, and it jarred it loose and made it come out. So when the season's over and I have the off season, I'll start getting back into my agility work and getting my explosiveness, my power, and all that stuff back up to where where I used to be.
British Open champ Rory McIlroy is the 5-1 favorite to win this week. His victory Sunday at the Bridgestone Invitational gives him the #1 ranking in the world.
Golf was looking for someone to put their hand up and sort of become, one of the dominant players in the game, and I felt like I had the ability to do that, and it's just nice to be able to win a few tournaments and get back to where I feel like I should be.
And here's an interesting shot. Rory McIlroy taking the claret jug he won at the British Open to his car, and maybe he travels with it to bring him some good luck. And how is Jeremy Lin getting ready for the upcoming season? Hanging out at home with his family and posting a dunk cam video on Instagram. First a girl walking down the street, a dude sleeping, and the best one is right here when he gets his own mom in the kitchen. Lin is asking his followers to post videos with the hashtag #JLinDunkCam, showing them posterizing unsuspecting victims. It'll take off, I bet.
I think it will. The country's 2 largest ports operate right here in our backyard, but today big steps are being taken to reduce operating costs and the amount of toxins being pumped into our air.
Clean, zero-emission producing big rigs will soon be rolling down the E-Highway in the Alameda corridor.
Here in Southern California, we still have the worst air quality in the nation, in spite of some tremendous progress.
Now, a new project aimed at reducing air pollution is underway. Siemens is about to construct the $13.5 million E-Highway in the areas of the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the 2 largest ports in the United States.
This project, sponsored by AQMD, will be the first one in this country to demonstrate zero emissions from trucks carrying cargo around the ports.
The 2-way 1-mile stretch will be installed on the north and southbound sections of Alameda Street, where it intersects with Sepulveda Boulevard in Carson. The system is being used in Germany. The concept is similar to streetcars.
These trucks will be able to connect to these overhead wires and obtain electrical power while they're in the port area, and then when they drive away, the wires retract automatically on the trucks and they drive off on their own power.
The system will use different battery electric and hybrid trucks. The goal is lower fossil fuel consumption, substantially reduce smog-forming toxic and CO2 emissions, and lower operating costs. Siemens and the Volvo Group are developing a demonstration vehicle for the project.
It's one of the many steps we need to take to clean our air here in the Los Angeles area. We're going to need to see cleaner trucks and even zero-emission trucks carrying cargo, because trucks are one of the largest sources of air pollution.
The E-Highway will be tested for 1 year. Construction will start early next year with the system up and running by next July. And if it's a success, the 1-mile test area could be expanded to other areas close to the ports.
Well, more news is straight ahead here at 8 o'clock.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. We heard the 911 tapes from the shooting on the 91 freeway. Tonight we talked to the man who survived the shooting and who made that call. A man crawls into a store screaming and claiming his wife set him on fire. What she is now revealing about what sparked her rage. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC.
The groundbreaking took place today for the Soto Street Bridge removal project in El Sereno. It's been in the works for 10 years. The overpass was originally constructed in the 1930s as a railroad bridge, and during the 60s it was converted for automobiles. But that left some dangerous blind crossings and entrance and exit points. The reconstruction is designed to remedy all that. It comes at a price tag of $21 million.
And thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8 here on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. We hope you join us.